School children hide under desks. During training on how to act during an enemy air raid, USA, 1942. In October 2012, Peruvian military caught a giant flying fox that was terrifying the local population. Its wingspan reached 2 meters. A teenager at the ruins of his home 4 days after Hurricane Camille passed through. Buras, USA, 1960s. Jack Daniel, the father of the famous whiskey Jack Daniels, died from blood poisoning 6 years after injuring his foot by kicking his safe, to which he had forgotten the combination. Lady Driver, 1902. Future President of Lithuania, Dalia Grybauskaitė, working at a construction site. USSR, 1971. Loading the first hard drive onto a Pan-American plane, 1965. It weighed about 2,000 pounds and held only 5 megabytes. Today's phone replaces thousands of those drives. USA, Alabama. Mass protests of the black population against white terror in September 1963. A small girl in rags collects precious grains of wheat. USSR, 1921. This photograph, taken on March 17, 1973, became a symbol of the end of the Vietnam War. In the frame, U.S. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Sturm reunites with his family after 5 years of captivity in North Vietnam. Freak Show, 1924, USA. Ringling Brothers in Barnum and Bailey Circus. Leg prosthetics, a technology ahead of its time, year 1900. Early advancements in biomechanical support. A little girl from the Philippines was displayed in the Coney Island Zoo with animals. She was placed among monkeys and lizards, tied with ropes, and people were allowed to throw peanuts at her, 1914. The final of the FA Cup, Cardiff City versus Arsenal, April 23, 1927. Police at Wembley literally make their way over fans' heads to their service spots. During the Genkai Marathon, Kenyan runner Jacqueline Kiplimo slowed down to help a disabled athlete drink water at hydration points, running with him for 28 kilometers. Because of this, she finished second but did not regret her actions. If you steal a loaf of bread, you go to jail. The Great Depression, USA, early 1930s. A father looks for his 2 missing sons during the Kosovo War in 1999. He would later find them. A strike by African American sanitation workers asserting their dignity. The signs read, "I am a man." USA, 1968. Prisoners being taken to work. USSR, 1989. In 1880, cocaine was part of many medicines used to treat colds, neuralgia, headaches, and insomnia. 66 years later, this soldier's granddaughter found this photo and was horrified to discover that her grandfather was a fascist who served in a detachment involved in mass killings. Alcohol stash during U.S. Prohibition, 1926. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, and James Cameron on the set of Titanic, 1997. The last Mexican grizzly bear is shown to the public. Mexico, 1954. An Egyptian column destroyed by Israeli aviation during the Six-Day War. At the end of the war, Israel gained control of territory 3.5 times larger than its pre-war area. 1967. Bronze memorial to 82 children killed in the village of Lidice, former Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic. 42 girls and 40 boys died in a gas chamber in Chełmno, the first German death camp designed specifically for mass killings. The king of paparazzi Rino Barilari became the victim of an incident in Rome in 1966 when actress Sonia Romanoff attacked him with ice cream for taking an awkward photo. Children eat turnips and cabbage for Christmas because they have nothing else. Great Depression, USA, 1929. Nuns at a casino at slot machines, Australia, 1971. The last public execution by guillotine in France, 1939. A photo of the seemingly kind family man Heinrich Himmler with his family from his photo album, but he was a Nazi, 1936. People skating on frozen Niagara Falls, 1885. A basketball match played on unicycles, United States, 1960s. Icelandic men celebrate the abolition of the law prohibiting beer, Iceland, 1989. About 100 people draw lots to equally divide 12 acres of purchased sand dunes. This place would later become the city of Tel Aviv, Israel. Jewish children in Auschwitz hold hands as they walk to the gas chamber, unaware of their fate. Black children at the fence of a whites-only playground, Alabama, 1956. Chinese execution method, 1900. Prisoners stand on a pile of stones, with one stone removed each day until suffocation occurs. A brutal experiment in the U.S. lasting from the 1930s to the 1970s. Over 600 African American workers from Alabama were given placebos and arsenic, despite a known remedy for syphilis. The purpose of the experiment was to observe how African Americans die from syphilis. Unlicensed prostitutes caught by the police at the famous fair, Russia, 1900s. Flamingos wait out Hurricane Andrew in a Miami Zoo restroom, 1992. Survivors of the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, 1945. A pickup truck speeds away from the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, Philippines, 1990. In 1985, a functioning, unmarked plane with the remains of 18 people in military uniforms was found in the wilderness. The examination showed they had died a year earlier, and all case files were classified. Strapless bra, USA, 1949. In May 1949, Charles Langs introduced an innovative solution for women sunbathing. A pair of bra cups that could be easily secured to the body with a special, safe adhesive. A good idea, but it never became widely used. One of the main pieces of evidence against Ted Bundy, American serial killer, rapist, kidnapper, and necrophile, was his teeth. He bit his victims on the chest and buttocks. He even bit off one woman's nipples. A soldier's return to his homeland, Vienna, Austria, 1946. After a 7-day strike, Woolworth store employees in Detroit celebrate their victory. They managed to raise wages by 20%, reduce working hours to 40 hours a week, and receive overtime pay, 1937. American prisoners of war liberated from a Japanese concentration camp, Philippines, 1945. Conjoined twins, Pip and Flip, popular circus performers, 1923. Adolf Hitler visits the trenches where he served during World War I as part of the Bavarian 16th Reserve Regiment near Fonay. The Hitler Regiment held this line for 18 months. The May 2nd, 1945 edition of the Stars and Stripes newspaper, Hitler is Dead. Children arrested for breaking racial segregation laws. They were playing in areas where black children were not allowed. USA, 1963. Masonic Lodge meeting, USA, Arizona, 1897. Two American border guards try to hold back an escapee who had already partially crossed into Mexico, 1939. Belt made from human nipples, one of the horrific artifacts belonging to serial killer and necrophile Ed Gein. Lumberjacks of the past. Safety standards were unimpressive. Horse-drawn combine harvester. Turkmen girls, end of the 19th century. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated a few months before the creation of the Secret Service to protect the president and other high-ranking officials. Ironically, the bill to create the service was on Lincoln's desk. 1753. Russian physicist Georg Wilhelm Richmann was killed testing atmospheric electricity. He accidentally created ball lightning that struck his forehead. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the first elephant killed. British Ceylon, 1893. Radium mask for treating facial cancer, 1920. The photo shows electricians Randall Champion and J.D. Thompson. They were conducting repair work when Randall was struck by an electric shock. More than 4,000 volts passed through his body, instantly stopping his heart. Thompson rushed to help and performed CPR. Randall's life was saved. The original and slightly terrifying Ronald McDonald, 1963. A beluga whale weighing 1,102 pounds, Sea of Azov, 1956. Submarine crew in diving suits, 1908. The President of France, Paul Doumer, lights the eternal flame at the tomb of the unknown soldier. He himself lost all 4 of his sons in World War I. A woman who survived the atomic bombing of Nagasaki, 1945. A young woman showing the awful effects of radiation poisoning. The beginning of the era of deception. A demonstration of inflatable bras, 1952. In ancient Greece, particularly in Thebes, homosexuality was not considered shameful. An elite unit of 300 men, lovers of each other, was formed, called the Sacred Band of Thebes. In 338 BCE, the entire unit perished in the Battle of Chaeronea. Women in wooden swimsuits designed to help them float better, 1929. In the 1960s, Boeing nearly went bankrupt before realizing it needed to carry more passengers on smaller planes. Self-proclaimed Reverend Father Yod with his wives, 1970s. His Los Angeles commune of the 70s turned sex, drugs, and rock and roll into a brilliant religious formation. The bathing machine, a device popular in the 18th and 19th centuries for swimming at sea beaches, allowing men and women to bathe while preserving the proprieties of the time. An Armenian woman from Aleppo with tattoos indicating her belonging to a Bedouin tribe, 1915. Arab nomads gave her a choice: marry one of them, and convert to Islam, or be handed over to Turkish soldiers. Behold the very first wireless telephone, pictured here in 1919. Employees of Fred Alger Management, photographed around 2001 on the 93rd floor of One World Trade Center, lost 35 staff in the 9/11 attacks. The fashionable vice of the Victorian era, opium addiction, which began in China. The English facilitated this trade, preferring to pay with opium instead of silver for tea. Photo from 1865. Thousands of Union and Confederate Civil War veterans gathered to honor the memory of the fallen, 1913. The wife of the commandant of the German concentration camps Buchenwald and Majdanek was most famous for her obsession with leather products made from human skin. She particularly liked skin with tattoos, from which, by her orders, gloves, lampshades, and book bindings were made. After the war, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. A Soldier's Return Home, Vienna, Austria, 1946. A narcotics officer after a raid on a drug den, USA, 1993. Girls saying yes to boys saying no, anti-draft poster, USA, 1960s. Carrier pigeons are now rarely used for letters, but successfully perform other tasks. In Europe, they transport blood samples to hospitals, and drug dealers use whole flocks to smuggle substances from Afghanistan to Pakistan. California Hunter. Seth Kinman sits in a chair made of a grizzly bear that he gifted to President Lincoln. A U.S. confectionery company stored its molasses in an enormous tank in Boston and severely skimped on maintenance. This led to an explosion, and 9 million liters of molten syrup swept over the city. People, horses, and cars were stuck fast in the molasses, and not everyone could be saved. Walter Smith, a bandit, the scourge of the streets, Australia, 1924. Smith didn't like using weapons and killed people with his bare hands, carefully twisting their heads. The criminal case note reads, "Very dangerous, strongly exhibits sadistic tendencies, may bite." Liverpool goalkeeper Ray Clemence patiently waiting during a match against West Ham while a dog expresses its opinion of his performance. England, 1972. The real Inglorious Bastards. After WFU, most Nazis responsible for the Holocaust escaped punishment. But this group of Jewish men tracked them down for years across different continents and carried out vigilante justice on several hundred Nazis. Jonas Salk declined to patent his polio vaccine in 1955. By doing so, he lost $7 billion, but made the vaccine accessible to children worldwide. Thanks to him, the incidence of polio decreased by 96%. An American certificate for aiding starving children in the Soviet Union. The owner of this certificate has fed one hungry orphan. USA, 1923. Strength test of a pipe. The inventor sits inside. Canada, 1920. Victorian women who never cut their hair, 1885. In the spring of 1933, thousands of Gulag prisoners were put on Nadzinsky Island without food to build a settlement. By summer, only 2,200 of the 6,700 had survived. There was famine and cannibalism, USSR. Owners of Turkish taverns hired porters to carry overly drunk regular customers home. 1960s, Istanbul. Snow blockade in Minnesota, USA. March 29th, 1881. Slaves in Chains, Zanzibar, 1865. A revolver with a camera that takes a picture just before the shot for a report to the client, 1938. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you!